Is listening to your own voice on a recording a lot really going to make you sound better to yourself? I answered a question about this the other day about how we hear our voices differently because they are transmitted to our ears through our bone structure, and everybody else hears our voice coming through the air. And I mentioned that the way that I got over the very, very, very common hatred of the sound of my voice on recording was entirely accidental when I started my own podcast and had to listen to recordings of myself all the time. So I have this comment here that says, to myself, I sound like the second coming of James Earl Jones. Hearing on a recording, I sound like my sister with a head cold. That is probably what pretty much everybody who listens to their recorded voice would tell you. And because we hate the sound of our own voices on recording so much, we generally avoid listening to them. So we don't hear them very often, and every time we do, we hate it. We absolutely hate it. We want to turn it off as quickly as possible, and may even deny that that's even us because it sounds so completely alien to ourselves. But I promise you, if you start recording yourself and listening to yourself more often, that feeling will go away and it will just be, yep, that's my voice. Now, you may still criticize your voice. I can't promise that you're not going to do that because that is individual to everybody, and some of that's personality, and some of it, everybody's different. But I promise you, you will not hate listening to your voice so much once it sounds normal to you. And it will take a little time. You may want to record something every day and listen back to it a couple of times so that it's not the same thing, because that'll bore you. But, read a short poem or, record a couple of pages from an essay you just wrote or a newspaper article or something. I promise you, the more you do this, the less it will bother you. Lack of exposure, someone else in another comment mentioned exposure therapy, and they're not really wrong. Lack of exposure is really what causes this disconnect for us. So I would really encourage you to try recording something and listening back to it every single day for at least 2 weeks, maybe a month, however long it takes you to adapt your ear to the sound of your own recorded voice, and then reassess, because it probably isn't as bad as you think it is. And once you realize that, then you can play around with something like voice acting, which you didn't mention, but you may be interested in it anyway. I don't know, and others here might too. So give it a try. I'm Nancy. I help women reconnect with their lost creative spark so they can get unstuck and gain more energy. Like and follow for more.